A candidate here at the weekend, a doctor, a lady from Vietnam who'd become a refugee, was a refugee, became a doctor and all the rest of it, she prescribed a medication to one of her patients who was dying, and the medication contained a component of ivermectin, and she has been disqualified from medical practice. Now, someone along the way is going to have to say, how many times are we going to cave in to Big Pharma? Have the big pharmaceutical companies got the governments by the, whatever you might call them, short and curlies?
Oh, in my view, Alan, they have, and there's a definite conflict of interest in the sense that Big Pharma pharma in general, but most of it is Big Pharma, pay for something like 96% of the income generated by the TGA. I know John Skerritt was on a couple of, the head of the TGA was on a couple of boards that I suspect they wouldn't answer me directly in estimates, but I'm pretty sure are funded by Big Pharma. Yeah. And you can't have the person, whoever that is, regulating the drug. That person can't be the same person then reviewing the injuries, because they'll have a natural self-preservation instinct not to report on the fact they didn't pick up on the weakness in the drug in the first place.
And why did the government, the Morrison government, Frydenberg, indemnify the big pharmaceutical companies? In other words, they would be freed from any likelihood of prosecution if a vaccination had resulted in the death of an individual. Is this appropriate for the government?
Well, I wish we hadn't of. I don't think we should have. I can see how it would have happened at the time. As you well know, it was just daily hysteria, press conference at 9, press conference at 10, press conference at 11.
Yep.
So they buckled under the pressure, the media pressure and the pressure to keep everyone safe. But with the benefit of hindsight, and to be quite frank, I don't think you really needed hindsight. We should have been able to do this with foresight. Yes. We should never have given these big pharma companies unlimited indemnity, given the number. This was an entirely new drug. This wasn't like it was an old protein-based vaccine. This was an mRNA vaccine that had never actually been, that spike protein had never actually been used in human beings before. Now, if Josh and the Prime Minister weren't aware of it, then the TGA should certainly have made them aware of it and should have said, no, we need to be cautious here and make these guys provide an indemnity. And that in itself, raised another red flag. Why did they need an indemnity? If the vaccine was safe and effective,
correct.
Why do you need an indemnity?
Correct, 100% correct. And the only place, viewers, again, I'm speaking to you, you've heard that is on this program. Not allowed to talk about that. Why, if the drugs were safe and everyone was so confident they were safe, why do you need to provide massive, big pharmaceutical companies worth billions with indemnity? You won't be held liable, the government said. Anyone dies, you won't be held liable. I tell you what, it's a shameful state of affairs, desperately in need, I think, of a royal commission into this whole coronavirus issue and the response. The trouble is, both major parties are peddling the same story.
Well, look, I'm happy for a Royal Commission to take place, but I would personally like a Senate inquiry into it as well. My fear of the Royal Commission is it would be a whitewash. They look at things and go, we don't buy enough.
Well, will you get a Senate inquiry up? Will you get a Senate inquiry up?
Well, we have tried to get a Senate inquiry up, and needless to say, the Greens, the crossbench and Labor voted against it. We gave them a select committee on COVID when Morrison was in government. But they wouldn't do the return favour and let us scrutinise what's going on now. We've still got mandates going on now, and people can still go to work. It's just absurd, right? But, Mr Albanese said he was going to shine a light on everything and be totally accountable and transparent. Well, that's not the case at all. He won't release minutes from National Cabinet, and he won't release the contract of these documents. Both myself and Alex Antic moved a motion to get the contracts between the Australian government and Pfizer. They didn't vote for that. They didn't vote for a Senate inquiry into COVID either. So he's not keeping his word about being accountable and transparent.